Now then, Vinyl Monkey again, the letter Q, and it won't surprise you to hear that I ain't got that many records under the letter Q in this collection. It's one of those sort of letters, isn't it? But in fact I've only got one, so as well as talking about that, I'm going to run through some recent acquisitions from A to Q that I've collected over the last month or two. Just flag them up briefly. But yeah, I would have had two albums under that Q. I've been looking for a copy of Quicksilver Messenger Services' first album from about 67, 68, the American psychedelic rock band, but I haven't been able to find one in my local second-hand record shops, and though there are quite a few on eBay of course, but I'd sooner browse around the record shops any day than order them off eBay if I can. So yeah, the one I've actually got is Suzi Quatro, and this is her first album and eponymous album, Suzi Quatro, from 1973. Suzi Quatro was originally called Suzi Quattrocci, which apparently in Italian means four eyes, because someone in her family, a granddad or somebody, had wore glasses. Sounds a bit rough really, but anyway, she shortened it to Suzi Quatro, as did her sister Patty actually, who was in that great American all-female rock band Fanny in the early 70s. I used to have a track or two of theirs on a compilation album back in the day, and as I remember, really good rock band. But anyway, this is younger sister Suzi, who came from a musical family. Her brothers, sisters, her dad was a jazz musician, and she took up the bass guitar eventually, and she fronted this band for a long time. And her first album, her first hit single, Can the Can, came from these sessions, but it isn't typically it isn't included on this LP. Great picture of Suzi and the band there. She was a pioneer really in terms of women leading rock bands, and yeah, good stuff, really good glam rock stuff. And yeah, it's got sort of some, I just like looking at the cover, and it's partly because there was a girl back in 1978 or something who really looked like Suzi Quatro, who asked me to go for a drink, and I was too shy to take her up on it at the time. But yeah, I always remember that that incident and that look, those jeans and the leather jackets and everything. But this is really good stuff. It starts with 48 Crash. There's a really good track on number 3, Shine My Machine, which sings about her hometown of Detroit. She came over to Britain, persuaded by Mickey Most to come over in 1971, I think a couple of years before this, and he teamed it up with Chin and Chapman, the sort of writers and producers, although she and the guitarist write quite a few of the tracks themselves on this album. But as I say, it's a really good glam rock album, some nostalgic value for me as well, and that's Suzi Quatro from 1973. You probably won't be surprised to hear that perhaps the most popular, commercially popular anyway, band beginning with Q, I don't own any of those behind me, and yeah, that band, I remember back in 74, 73, 74, a mate or two of mine were getting into them and trying to persuade me that Seven Seas of Rye and Killer Queen and Queen 1 and Queen 2 were great albums, and I borrowed them and I gave them a listen, and I just could never quite get away with it. But I was persuaded to go and see them in 1975 at Newcastle City Hall. I think they'd just brought out, was it A Night at the Opera, and I thought they were absolutely terrible. And that was, I remember walking out and going to the City Tavern for a drink about 3/4 of the way through the set. They were just like a joke band, no authenticity or integrity, or yeah, dishonest I would describe them as, and I've just never been able to get away. I mean, some of the most appalling records ever produced. We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You, Bohemian Rhapsody. Absolute nonsense. And of course there's nothing wrong with sort of poppy nonsense or anything, but yeah, no, I just could never, I could never get away with Queen, and can never understand anybody who can. But anyway, yeah, I'm not on this channel to put anybody down, each to their own. So a quick run through some recent acquisitions then. I had a birthday recently and I got 3 or 4 albums for my birthday. My lovely son got me a copy of The Animals, a German copy of House of the Rising Sun album, which contains that single plus their other great single, We Gotta Get Out of This Place, as well as some of the tracks off their first album. And that's yeah, that's a really good sounding copy. So that's The Animals, House of the Rising Sun. The second one, a real favourite of mine, David Byrne, the lead singer with Talking Heads. I've got a few of his solo albums. This is, and I'm not sure how you pronounce this, Ray Momo. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful stuff. Lots of sort of Latin sounding rhythms and percussion in there, but that's David Byrne, Ray Momo. The next one I've just got is MoFi, Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab audiophile copy of Derek and the Dominoes' Layla, or Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs. And one of Clapton's best albums, I think, really laid back, and he plays, of course, alongside Duane Allman in the band, and this audiophile copy has just got a beautiful sound. And I mean, particularly the first couple of sides, I Looked Away and Bell Bottom Blues, and I Am Yours and Any Day, absolutely gorgeous sounding blues record. So yeah, Derek and the Dominoes, Layla. The next one I actually, my partner's son left it in the loft, so I've inherited, and this is, I've given this 2 goes, and this is Drum Sound and Simon Bassline Smith, The Art of the Beast, Nature of the Beast, and this is drum and bass basically, and so it's a drum machine and a sort of synthesizer, and it sort of goes at various speeds, and boom, 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 boom. I can imagine it. I don't know, certain types of drugs that I've not really ever got into, nightclubs and those sorts of things. And I mean, I'm sure this is pretty good at what it does. It's a quadruple album, actually. So there are 8 sides of this stuff, and I've listened to a couple of sides a couple of times, and not particularly my cup of tea, but never say never. You never know. So yeah, Drum Sound and Simon Bassline Smith. It's a trio from Derby. The next one is Rodney Graham, the artist who I mentioned under the letter G, and this is his latest record, which is actually a 12-inch single with some of the best advice you'll ever hear, as the title, Don't Trust Anyone Over 30. Yeah, very good advice and brilliant record. The next one, my son again. Whoa, what a corker this one is, of course. George Harrison, All Things Must Pass from 1971, his triple album, his first solo album after the Beatles split up. And, well, don't need to say anything about it, absolutely gorgeous. And this one's in really, really almost mint condition. So, brilliant. The next one, a favourite songwriter of mine, Paul Heaton, ex of the House Martins and the Beautiful South, alongside Jackie Abbott, who sang in the Beautiful South with him. And this is a double album. This is Manchester Calling, and yeah, he's just a brilliant singer and songwriter, and she's a lovely singer as well. So this is a great album, and Paul Heaton's just an all-round good guy. Yeah, read about him and what he does under the radar, I think, for the community that he lives in a terraced house in Manchester. Yeah, Good Guy, Paul Heaton and Jackie Abbott, Manchester Call. The next one really completes my set of early Jethro Tull albums, and this is a passion play, which I must admit I've played it once since I bought it about a month ago, and I hadn't heard it before that for 30 years, so I need to give it another go or two. First hearing, I'm thinking not as sort of striking or as interesting, as thick as a brick, but I'm gonna persevere with that one. So that's Jethro Tull, A Passion Play. The next one, and this is thanks to Brendan, who put on the comments that his other favourite early Elton John album was Tumbleweed Connection, and he's dead right. Of course, this is a lovely album as well, and that comes with a nice sort of inside cover with the lyrics on and everything. Real quality, and a quality album as well. So Elton John, Tumbleweed Connection. The next one, another absolute classic from an ex-Beatle. This is John Lennon's first album, Plastic Ono Band. Great photo of a young John in the middle, and this is the 50th anniversary special edition, which features an album of outtakes and extras as well as a couple of booklets and things inside. The quality is superb on this, and what a brilliant band they were. Klaus Voormann on bass, Ringo Starr on drums, Yoko Ono on a bit of squealing and whatever, but absolutely stunning album. John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band. I'd already mentioned the next two. Will Oldham, Songs of Love and Horror, which is beautiful acoustic solo versions of some of his back catalogue. And then lastly, Van Morrison's latest, which is beautifully packaged. It's a triple album. It comes in like a box with a big thick booklet full of the words, and latest record project. And I've now listened to 2/3 of this triple album, and as with all of Van's, certainly his last dozen or so albums, the sound is superb, the musicianship is superb, his singing voice is as good as ever. So all good. The subject material suggests that Van's had a bad lockdown, really. He's cheesed off, he's pissed off. Some of this is tongue-in-cheek stuff, but some of it is him grumbling about the record music industry, which is a common theme of Van's, of course, but maybe a little touch of paranoia here and there in the lyrics, but it's been a bad old year for him. He I think as he said, he wants to be on the road, and he's been cooped up, and he's written these 28 songs and committed them to vinyl, and another great sounding record. Van Morrison couldn't do a bad record if he tried, I suspect. So Van Morrison, latest record project. So there's some of my latest acquisitions. Next week is the letter R, which I've got plenty to choose from. It's going to be a bit of a dilemma for me which ones to flag up, but hope you might join me for that. Cheers.